Owatonna City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, April 15th. With that, we'll ask for roll call. Jeanette?
Councilmember Rainey.
Here.
Spendy.
Here.
Trilson.
Here.
Dotson.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Burbank.
Here.
Abraham.
Here.
Mayor Kuntz.
Here.
We have all 7 of the council and the mayor present.
Thank you. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And tonight, because of the tragedy in Boston, I would like to ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to approval of the agenda, and there is nothing that has changed since it was presented to you last Friday. So,
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Brent. Second. Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda has been approved. Next item we have is a presentation for the Minnesota's 50 and Better Games, and that we have Greg Lewis here tonight. Would you please come?
I've already signed it. Good evening. My name is Greg Lewis. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to talk to you. Quite frankly, the mayor advised me to come in and talk to you about what's happening with the senior games. I'm going to have to hold this because you don't have a podium here and my eyes aren't good enough anymore. I'm one of the co-chairs. Obviously there are two of us. Don Oberly is the other co-chair. And we've got a committee that we've been working on the senior games for approximately 2 years. We have both professionals and volunteers. The primary volunteers right now are Oberly and myself. The professional heavy hitters involved in this enterprise are the folks from Park and Rec, Owatonna Tourism Department, and Owatonna SeniorPlace. If you don't know it, the Minnesota Senior Games have been going on for a while. The last 2 years it was held in Mankato, and the first year they had 250 participants. The second year they had 400. We are only going to be able to do it for 1 year because Bloomington is going to take it in 2014, and in 2015 it is going to be nationals for the entire United States being held in Bloomington. So this is kind of a warm-up. The Senior Games are being held June the 19th through the 22nd, and the events are being held within the city limits, and there's a couple places that we've had to go outside the city limits. One event in Medford and one down in Hope. We have a total of 20 different events. We're ranging from archery to volleyball, and since we had carte blanche with what we were allowed to do with this thing, we also fine-tuned it for our community. What I mean by that is we also included shotgun, more specifically trap, and .22 rifle. If you don't know it right now, .22 rifle ammunition is impossible to find, so that's turning into an issue. Participants have to be 50 to 99 years of age. If you're 100 years old, I will pay for your participation. It's $35 a person, and it allows you to compete in up to five different events. To date, we have had 82 individuals sign up. Obviously, the question you're probably going to ask is, what have you got for a goal? Our goal is 250. We are thinking that the weather outside is not helping folks who want to participate, give them a sense of urgency. hopefully, when the weather gets better, they're going to say, hey, maybe I better sign up.
Of those 82, a certain percentage of those are from out of the state of Minnesota, correct?
Yes, we've had folks from Vermont, Florida, Arizona, Wisconsin, North and South Dakota, and I think one from Nebraska. But the vast majority of the folks who have signed up are Minnesota folks. Just as an aside, like I told you, our goal was 250 participants, and we're utilizing the 4 seasons as a kind of a rallying point. Everybody has to check in at the 4 seasons. Biggest pushback that we've had, I am selling it every day that I get an opportunity. If I come up and talk to you, it's a pretty good possibility that I think you're over 50 years of age. Obviously, you tread lightly with women on that one, or otherwise you'll probably get yelled at. The biggest pushback that I have had is, I'm not good enough. They don't realize that the athletes are divided up into not only age categories, but obviously gender breakdown too. So I'm 66 years of age. I would be competing in the 66 to 70 years of age. And we will be presenting gold, silver, and bronze medal for each grouping. Of interest to the City Council, if we are able to meet the goal of 250 participants, not only will we have folks from out of the area, but from out of state coming into our community and utilizing our restaurants and our hotels. In closing, 3 main points. And I think this is probably more for the camera than it is for you guys. Don't be afraid to participate. This should be about having fun, and come out and play with us. If you don't want to compete, at least volunteer. Some of the events are going to eat up a lot of volunteers, like the road race. That's probably going to take 40 or 50 volunteers. Second, we continue to look for sponsors to help us defray the cost of medals, T-shirts, and signage. Just to give you an example, nothing's free. This little book right here, we produced 1,000 of them. It was about $2,200. I would like to give special thanks to Blue Cross Blue Shield and the Owatonna Alina Hospital for being gold and silver level sponsors. Any contribution at all is greatly appreciated. We started with a budget of, we figured about $15,000. We're pretty close to it, but we need to have a little breathing room. Third, registration is online at MNSeniorGames.com, and it's all lowercase. Registration closes the 3rd of June. You have to understand why. We have to, when all the dust settles, we've got to figure out which of the events that we have enough people participating in to continue on. Right now, the lion's share are pickleball is the big one. Older folks love pickleball, and cycling. If you look at the calendar, 3 June is only 48 days away, so it's getting down there. If you can't do it online, you don't want to do it online, you're afraid of the computer, come into the Owatonna Senior Place and we will do it for you. That, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my briefing. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Of the 80 you got already, are you seeing them 80 people go in for 4 or 5 sports? Are you seeing that happen, 4 or 5 sports?
I'll give you a classic example. I've signed up for 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see in the book, I ran one off at home. I ran a copy of the one you got. I see you had racquetball and fairboat. Is that not continuing?
I'm sorry, it is.
Okay, it was in the book,
I missed fairboat.
racquetballs and fairboat, I know.
It is.
So I read the book kind of pretty well.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Maybe you could describe just some of the events, just for our audience, so maybe hit a few of the highlights, maybe?
Are you ready?
Wide range.
Archery, racquetball, cycling, basketball. And the basketball is free throw. Horseshoes, table tennis, the shotgun, track and field, and there's a lot in track and field. Cycling, disc golf, badminton, 5K run, and there's also a 10K run that's going to be following, I think, the following day. Tennis, rifle, bowling, and I will beat you all at bowling. Pickleball, billiards, and pickleball, and tennis and swimming. It's quite a bit of thing. If we haven't covered what you got for a sport, it's an unusual sport.
After what you just said that you'd beat anybody in bowling,
Yes,
are you exempt from getting a medal?
I will be exempt, yes. It's a great question, and yes, I will be exempt.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think what we really need to do is promote it because it is a good thing for Owatonna to have happen here. Would like to have it for 2 years, but I think Bloomington wants to get practicing, right? Okay, thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the next item is Arbor Day proclamation, and with that, we'll go to the mayor.
Thanks, Les. It's the mayor's privilege to always do proclamations. This one's for Arbor Day, and it reads, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of the business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas Owatonna has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its tree planting ways. Now, therefore, I, Thomas A. Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Owatonna, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2013 to be Arbor Day in the City of Owatonna, and I urge all citizens to support efforts to care for our trees and woodlands and to support our community forestry program. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees, to garden the hearts, and promote the well-being of present and future generations. Dated the 16th day of April, Thomas A. Kuntz. And the other thing I'll add to that is that the city really does an outstanding job in participating with that. And for each retiree that we have during the year, they plant a tree for the retirees. And on April 26th at 12:15, we'll be planting 6 trees for our retirees for this year.
Thank you, Tom.
Where are you going to plant the trees this year, Chris, out here?
3 of the trees will be on the West Hills campus, and then 1 will be on Mineral Springs, and Kyle, where are the other 2?
Lake Coal Miner, and I don't remember where the 6th one is.
So you're going to be moving?
Right.
Okay, those locations are of the choosing of the retirees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. And With that, we will move on to 1.6.1, Resolution 4813, adopt assessments for outstanding utility accounts. And with that, we'll go to Chris.
Thank you, Les. I would ask council to continue this hearing. We have some pending legal issues that we need further research on.
Okay, thank you. Before we do ask for a motion to table, is there any questions from the council? With that, I'll look for a motion to table.
So moved.
I have a motion by Nate to table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been tabled. Thank you. We'll move on now to the financial report, and I'll do a quick recap of finances. And we have $60,277 for Southeast Service Cooperative, our April health insurance premium. $45,814 for Steele County Auditor, first quarter LEC costs. $25,685 for Yokomo Oil fuel purchases. $270,693 for other expenditures, for a subtotal of $402,471. And to that, we add $71,347 for the April 1st Section 8 payments, for a grand total of $473,818. What is the council's wishes?
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
So, motion by Kevin to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? These have been approved. Now we go on to the consent agenda item, which are minutes of council meeting, board commission reports, event permits, and miscellaneous items, all grouped into one motion. Questions from the council? Raymond.
Chris, I just have one question. You know, years before, many months ago, we used to get a slip from Park and Rec, and the 20 hours or 10 hours. Is that tabulated someplace and kept as donations, or because we don't see that now like we used to? That's why I was.
We've gone to an electronic system now, so those notes are made electronically. We need to make sure that we include that information for the council. So what you're getting is kind of the paper copy. We send out an electronic copy to all of our departments where they can make comments and note what the financial contribution is. So we'll work on that for next time and make sure that you get that.
It'd be nice to see what we're donating.
Yep.
Some way or another, because, you know, a lot of times it gets to be a lot of dollars that we're really helping the community, you know.
Yep, we'll do that.
Those numbers are being accumulated.
Okay.
We just didn't get the report this time.
Okay.
We're working on that to try to
Okay.
get that, so we do get it. Okay. We don't have a motion yet.
So move we approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Raymond to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? These have been approved. Now we move on to the action items, which is 3.2.1 is a variance 1350 for Sandra Sprunk at 625 Cherry Place. Variance, setback variance for new garage. Troy.
The proposed garage would be in the side yard with a setback of 20 feet from the front property line at its closest point. The southeast corner of the garage would be 30 feet from the setback line, and the difference of the setback is due to the dedicated right-of-way on the cul-de-sac that bulbs out. There is a site plan in your packets there that indicate, you know, where the garage is being located, and it's because it's on the end of that cul-de-sac there. That one corner is closer than 30 feet than the other. It actually sits back behind the front building line of the house. The applicant desires the garage to be located closer to the front property line due to the existing grades in the area. The lot drops off to the west into a small ravine, and they will need a retaining wall along that back of the garage to keep it all at the same level. We did have a public hearing. We had no objections from the neighbors. The applicant did indicate at the public hearing that they might want to enlarge that garage, and so what the Planning Commission did was set that north building line at 36 feet from the house. So if they wanted to expand it anymore, they'd have to bring it closer to the house. Right now they're showing a 10-foot setback between the garage and the house, and they could reduce that down if they so choose. But they locked that north building line where they have it proposed on the site plan, which keeps it at a 20-foot setback. The Planning Commission recommended approval, provided the driveway shall not exceed 24 feet in width. The exterior elevations of the proposed garage shall be constructed to be compatible with the house, and the northernmost part of the garage is 36 feet or less from the house. So staff would recommend approval of this variance request as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Troy. Any questions from the council? Raymond?
Just concerned, they have a double garage and they'll add this part. That's a lot of space.
Under our ordinance,
Yeah.
it could actually go up to 1,000 square feet in a detached garage. And because of the kind of the ravine back there, and it is a drainage way back there, they're keeping it at 26 feet. It'll fit in. There's a lot of space over on that north side there.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion by Nate to approve. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Thank you. Now we will move on to Resolution 4513, reimbursement for bond regulations, and that will go to Chris.
Thank you, Les. As you know, whenever the city issues bonds for projects, the Internal Revenue Code requires that the city make a declaration of intent to reimburse itself prior to those expenditures coming out of the proceeds of the bonds. So there are specific timelines in order for us to meet those deadlines. What this resolution would do would simplify the process and make sure that we're in compliance with that, and would authorize the finance director to make the city's declaration. It was recommended to us by our bond attorney, and staff would recommend approval.
Thank you, Chris. Questions from the council? Move to approve. We have a motion by Greg to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Kevin. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? This has been approved. Thank you, Chris. And next is Resolution 46-13, adopt rates for street opening permits, and that will go to Kyle.
Good evening. As part of our street opening permit, we charge in our bituminous streets. The current price for replacing that is $20 per square yard. It's been over 20 years since that cost has been updated. I looked at the cost of materials, and it's about $13 a square yard for materials. So I'm recommending an increase from $20 to $40. That would be 3 times the material cost to cover trucking and labor to install that patch. Concrete patches, the contractor doing the work is required to get their own contractor to fix those.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Chair will entertain a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 4613.
We have a motion to approve by Dave Burbank. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Thank you. Next one is Resolution 4713, award bid for East Broadway project, and we'll go back to Kyle with this one.
Good evening. We received bids last Wednesday for the 2013 East Broadway project. If you'll remember, this is the project, complete reconstruction from Lincoln Avenue to Chambers Avenue, and including Chambers Avenue to East Rice Lake Street. The bids we received were very good from 3 quality contractors. Hazelton Construction of Faribault was the lowest responsible bidder. Their bid was $418,495.46. The engineer's estimate was $504,263. So we feel the numbers were very favorable for the city and recommend approval of the bid to Hazelton Construction.
Thank you, Kyle. Questions from the council?
So move we approve.
We have a motion by Raymond to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. We can proceed with that right now.
Yep.
Great, thank you. Next item is Resolution 2813, or is that 4813?
28.
2813, okay. Authorization to request advance funds for state aid projects, and that would go back to Kyle.
This is a resolution that was passed previously. We followed the guidelines sent to us by the state. Once we sent the resolution in, they came back and said that they'd like to see the amounts for the projects. And during that time, we've also recommended removing one of the projects from the list for this year, so we changed the amount of the advance request. If you remember, this is the advance of state aid funds. We get approximately a little bit over $1 million a year in state aid funds, which is gas tax money, for projects around town, and we can borrow up to 4 years ahead. So we're recommending borrowing an additional $1,650,700 for the 3 projects for this year.
On this, you may want to change the word bride to bridge.
You see that?
On the last item, so. This is a note before maybe get signed. Thank you. Questions from the council? Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve Resolution 28-13.
We have a motion by Brent to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? This has been approved also. Thank you. Now we move on to ordinances 3.5.1, second reading of proposed ordinance 413, abolish Police Civil Service Commission, and that will go to Keith.
Thank you. The City Council is being asked to have the second reading of ordinance number 223, repealing Owatonna Code that expressly accepts the provisions of Minnesota statute pertaining to a Police Civil Service Commission. Abolishing the Police Civil Service Commission will require an unanimous vote of the council. Human resources laws and collective bargaining agreements provide necessary policies, procedures, and oversights to efficiently manage the business of the police department. Therefore, we are requesting abolishment of the Police Civil Service Commission. Our hiring processes will still involve community involvement, and at this time, the members of the Civil Service Commission have unanimously approved the abolishment of the commission. At this time, the staff recommends abolishment of the Police Civil Service Commission.
Thank you, Keith. Questions from the council?
Motion we approve.
We have a motion by Nate to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion? That'll ask for roll call.
Councilmember Rainey.
Aye.
Svenby.
Aye.
Trulson.
Aye.
Dotson.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Abraham.
Aye.
We have all ayes.
Approved. Second reading. Let's go ahead with it now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We move on to 3.5.2, second reading of proposed ordinance Z230, rezone Oak Avenue Commons Addition, and then we'll go to Troy with that.
This is the site of the old Hardee's and Budget Mart site that's being planned for redevelopment. You approved a preliminary plat at the last meeting, the first reading of the rezoning. There was the back parking lot off of Barney, which is on a separate lot. It was in an R6 high-density residential zone. The rest of the property was in a B2 community business district. And to do the plat and put it all in one property, we need it all in one zoning district. So this is just rezoning that back portion from an R6 high-density residential district to a B2 community business district.
Thank you.
So move we approve.
And this is a second reading, right?
This is the second reading, yes.
And we have a motion to approve by Ray Toulson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz.
Troy, do they have a start date, anything talked about on that property, or?
Demolition should probably begin in the next week or two.
Oh, really? Oh, gee.
And though you will see more zoning approvals and other approvals needed for that project, but they are getting ready for demolition.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I ask for roll call.
Councilmember Rainey.
Aye.
Svenby.
Aye.
Trulson.
Aye.
Dotson.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Abraham.
Aye. All ayes. This has been approved. Thank you. And that was the second reading, so we'll just wait for the other issues. Thank you. Next one is item 3.5.3, second reading of proposed ordinance 613 of amend Chapter 5, Section 415, exemption for the Steele County Free Fair Board during the Steele County Free Fair, and that will go to Chris.
Thank you, Les. As you know, this section pertains to races, tractor pulls, demolition derbies, other motorized activities at the fairgrounds grandstand. This ordinance was not meant to apply to the Steele County Fair, and this ordinance merely clarifies that point, and staff would recommend approval.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions from the Raymond?
Chris, is that just the week of the fair? What if somebody decides to race other times or?
Correct. It's only exempted
Only that
the
week of
Steele
the
County
fair.
Fair during that fair week.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Brent?
I'll be abstaining from the vote since I'm on the fair board. So.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? With that, Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Nate. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin. Any further discussion? Noting that, we'll have ask for roll call.
Councilmember Rainey.
Aye.
Svenby.
Abstain.
Trilson.
Aye.
Dotson.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Abraham.
Aye. This has been approved also. Now with that, we will move on to public comments from the citizens, and would ask to limit it to 2 minutes and items that are not on the agenda. If anyone would like to speak, please come forward. We'll have you sign in to or identify yourself. Seeing none, we'll move on to council comments, and we'll go first to Kevin.
Nothing out of the Fourth Ward tonight.
Brent?
Nothing this evening.
Raymond?
Just got one comment. That property across from the police department was tore down over a year ago, and there's a lot of, I think it's due for a cleanup, and it's time is up, I think. So I think we need to proceed with getting that property cleaned up there. So there's a big pile of stuff that was still there from construction, and I mean tear down. It's been there for a long time. So
Okay. Anything else?
nope.
Thank you. Nate?
Nothing to add.
Greg?
I'd just like to say thank you to Boy Scout Troop number 246 for the gracious reception they gave me last night. I was there. They were working on their community citizenship merit badge, and we had a great conversation. They had some very interesting questions. It was fun to see them engaged in local happenings. And one of the big questions to the police chief was they noticed those new black cars, and they thought they were pretty cool.
Okay. Is that it, Greg?
Yeah.
Thank you. Dave?
Nothing from Ward 3.
Mr. Mayor?
Just got a note back from APPA, American Public Power Association. Just wanted to let you know that I received the Owatonna resolution in the mail. I also just found out that Congressman Waltz has just co-sponsored the Terry Neal resolution, House File 112, supporting tax-exempt municipal bonds. So the resolution and your lobbying obviously worked. So it does pay to pass those resolutions and pass them forward.
Thank you, Tom. You have anything, Chris?
Just a few items, just to remind everyone, our next coffee with the council will be held on May 18th, Saturday morning, from 9 to 10 at the kitchen. So mark your calendars for that. We have some other items of note. This week is Severe Weather Awareness Week. There'll be 2 statewide tornado drills, one at 1:45 and one at 6:55 on Thursday, April 18th. They're designed to remind individuals, businesses, families to plan ahead for severe weather, as we're heading into that. Yes, sir.
Did that coffee with the council get rescheduled for that day?
It did.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I think so.
That's
Greg and I both were unaware.
What was that date again?
I had sent out an email and got a few responses, but I thought
Obviously not from us.
probably not. So maybe we should back up. So would the 18th work for the majority of you?
Yes.
Okay. Unless I'm having confirmation on the 11th. Unless you want to help me make brunch, we could stick with the 11th.
18th is fine.
18th, okay. All right. Moving on. Open house at Coda Living Community on Monday, April 22nd from 2 to 7. And then the Board of Appeal and Equalization will also be held on Monday, April 22nd at 7 p.m. And if you'll recall, that's when you come to talk to the Board of Appeal about the valuation of your property. And we have the assessor here with us, and we review those appeals from property owners. On Thursday, April 25th, there's a groundbreaking ceremony for the expansion at the Owatonna Arts Center. I believe that starts at 10 a.m., so be aware of that. Thursday, May 2nd is the National Day of Prayer. There'll be a worship service on the steps of the City Administration Building beginning at 5:30 in the afternoon. On Friday, the weekend of May 5th, is Corky's Early Bird Softball Tournament. And then on Saturday, May 4th, that's from the Heart Run. This is the first run or walk event of the year, and to remind drivers to take note and be careful and be aware of our runners and walkers who are out participating. And then also Saturday, May 4th, believe it or not, will be the first farmers market of the season. Hopefully it'll be nice for them, starting in Central Park. And that's all I had.
That's it. With that, I don't have anything to add, so I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Kevin and a second by Raymond. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Adjourned.
Was that almost a Rick?
That's pretty good.